and you should be able to access it from YouTube if you like. It's going to be at youtube.com/@theshyhat, which is the channel name, which is my channel name rather. And we should be able to see it appear over here. Let me just load this up. Okay, so if you want to, you can access the stream from this live stream, which I'm going to provide to everybody in the chat. And if you're not already logged into your picoctf account, please log into the website now, because we're going to be starting the lesson and we're going to be solving more challenges over at the picoctf website. So let's go over to the presentation for today. This is Hacker Frogs After School Linux Basics with picoctf Part 3. Hey there, Hacker Frogs. This is the third intro to Linux OS Operations workshop. In the previous workshop, we learned about the following Linux commands. So we learned about a few different commands in the last workshop we did. First of all, we learned about the find command. The find command is used to search for files on the system. It can be used with many different arguments and flags to refine the search parameters. So if we wanted to look for files that fit certain parameters, we can use the find command. Okay, another command that we often use in Linux is the grep command. The grep command searches within the contents of files for specified strings. So we can use grep and we can look for a specific pattern inside of a file, and it's a very commonly used and very useful command. It's commonly used to pick out specific words or phrases. So we learned about the make directory command. Sometimes we call it the make dir command. It's used to create new directories in the current directory. The syntax for the command is as follows. It's mkdir space and then the name of the directory you want to create. All right, so that's make directory. We also talked about the rm command, which is used to delete files. It's used to delete files or directories, but deleting directories requires the use of the -r flag. For example, here we're doing delete on a directory called first find, so we have to use the -r flag over here. So everybody, let's continue where we left off, and let's solve this challenge over here. It's called What's a Netcat? And it's at picoctf. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give everybody the link for this challenge over here. But before we do that, we should probably open up our picoctf web shell, because picoctf has a Linux environment that we can work within. All you need to do is go over to the picoctf website, and after you're logged in, you want to go over to the practice link over here. So just click on practice. And then you should see all these different challenges over here. As well, you should see the web shell button right here. And the web shell button is going to let you access the web shell. So go ahead and click on that. And then you should see that this kind of output appears. After this appears, what you can do is you can put this in its own browser tab. And that's what we want to do, because we want to make the web shell nice and big. So we need to click on this button right here, which is called Pop Out Web Shell Terminal. So when we click on that, that's going to put the web shell in its own browser tab, which is what we want. Sometimes this won't work the first time that we click on it, so we might have to try this process a couple of times to open up our web shell in the separate web browser tab. So this doesn't seem to be working, so we're going to close this tab, and then we're going to click on the web shell again, and then we're going to click on Pop Out Web Shell Terminal again. So it doesn't seem to like to work the first time that we click on this, but the second time we click on it, it should work. If it doesn't work after 3 tries, then you're having some bad luck. But just keep on trying, and eventually you should be able to open up the web shell in nice and big inside of the web browser tab, just like this. Okay, so if you manage to open up your web shell, please let me know that you've done so by typing web shell up. smiley face. Or at least I think this is a smiley face. All right, and then we can go on to our first challenge. If you need some more time to log in and open up your web shell, then please let me know because we don't want anybody to be left behind. All right, so the What's a Netcat challenge. So I'm gonna leave a link in the chat, and this GitHub website over this GitHub page over here has all of the challenges that we're doing today, and it can be located over here. We're doing the Netcat What's a Netcat challenge first. I'm going to copy the link and put it in the chat. And if you're interested in that over at YouTube, then you can access it from here as well. Okay. All right, so over at picoctf, we're going to paste in the What's a Netcat challenge. And the description inside of the What's a Netcat challenge says, using Netcat, otherwise known as NC, is going to be pretty important. Can you connect to this server over here at this port to get the flag? So what we need to do is we need to use another program to contact this remote server over here on this networking port to get the flag. But what is this Netcat program? So let's explain what the Netcat program what the Netcat program is. So we're talking about the Netcat. Sometimes it's just called NC. It's a versatile computer networking program, and one common use of Netcat with picoctf challenges is to connect to non-standard services on remote servers. So when we talk about remote servers, it just basically means a computer that's hooked up to the internet that is not our own computer. And when we're talking about networking ports, those are like basically like little addresses that we can access services from. Okay? So the syntax for using Netcat to connect to a remote server on a specific port is as follows. We're going to do NC, which stands for Netcat, and then the IP address or domain, and then the port number. For example, in this challenge, we would use this command. It's NC, and then jupiter.challenges.picoctf.org, and then this port number right here. So what we can do is we can go back to the challenge description over here, and we can copy this right here. So this is the information we need to connect to the server using Netcat. So just highlight all of this, and then right-click and select Copy. After that, you want to go to your web shell, and it's probably disconnected because if you log in and you don't start typing, it's going to disconnect you. All you need to do is click into the web shell and then hit the Enter key to reconnect to it. Okay, so we've got a lot of stuff on the screen already. Remember that anytime you want to clear the screen inside of Linux, you just have to type the word clear and hit enter. And that's going to clear the screen and send your terminal back up to the top. So from here, what we want to do is we want to right-click and select the paste option. So this is the server that we're going to contact right here, jupiter.challenges.picoctf.org. And the port number we want to contact is this one right here. We want to edit this a little bit because this isn't what the netcat command wants. What the netcat command wants is just going to be the server name here, and then a space, and then the port number. But at the front of the command, we need to type the letters NC for netcat. So the full command is NC space jupiter.challenges.picoctf.org space 41120. Okay? So after you have this all ready, what you can do is just hit enter, and this is going to execute the command, and netcat is going to contact this server on this port. Okay, so the message we get from the server is you're on your way to becoming the netcat master. And then we also get the flag over here. So all we need to do to finish the challenge is just highlight the flag content over here and then right click copy, then go over to the challenge description. Inside of the challenge submission flag submission field, click into it, and then right click paste, and then click on submit flag, and we should be done. It should say, hooray, you solved this challenge, and then you're finished. All right, so if you successfully did that, please type in the chat, I netcatted the thing. Smiley face. Okay, so that was another command we used to connect to another computer using Linux. Awesome, awesome. I see user M has netcatted the thing. That's great. All right. So next we're going to learn about another important concept inside of Linux, and we're going to learn about this thing called command piping. And we're going to do that through another challenge called picoctf plumbing. I also see user T has also netcatted the thing. That's great to see, great to see. All right, let's go back to all of our links over here, and the plumbing challenge is over here. So I'm going to provide the plumbing challenge link in the chat. And what you want to do is go over to your picoctf website and paste in that link. And this is the plumbing challenge. So this says, sometimes you need to handle process data outside of a file. Can you find a way to keep the output from this program? Can you find a way to keep the output from this program and search for the flag? And then we've got another server and another port that we can contact using netcat. So this is going to be, we're going to be using the netcat program again to solve this challenge. So first, what you want to do is just copy all of this up until the number 7, but don't copy the period at the end. After that, you just need to right click and copy it. And then we're going to go over to our web shell. And the web shell over here, after this challenge, I think you can just hit the enter key. And oh, so this keeps us in here. All right, so remember, if at any time you get stuck inside of a program and you want to unstick yourself or like cancel out of the program, what you need to do is you need to use the Control-C keyboard shortcut. So hit Control on your keyboard and C at the same time. And you should see this symbol right here come up, and then you're going to see that your web shell can be used again. Okay? So what we're going to do next is we're going to paste in. This is the remote server address that we need to contact, and this is the port. So in order to use netcat to contact this server here, all we need to do is insert the nc command at the beginning of this line. So we just need to use our arrow keys to go to the front of the line. And if you know where the home and end keys on your keyboard are, you can use the home and end keys on your keyboard to go from the beginning and go to the beginning or the end of the line. The home key brings you to the beginning of the line, and the end key brings you to the end of the line. But you can also use the arrow keys as well. So just insert NC at the beginning and give a space. And we're going to complete this command. So it's NC space jupiter.challenges.picoctf.org 4427. So if we give this command over here, we're going to get all of this output. And all this output is, well, it's a bunch of junk. And if we were to look for a flag inside of all of this, it would be a big pain in the butt. But do you remember what command we can use to pick out a certain pattern out of some output? we used this command before to pick out the word pico from the picoctf flag. Do you remember what program we use or what command? Okay, user M says wget. That's not quite it. Wget is used to download files, but we use the wget command a lot as well. But it was one of the commands that we learned in the last class, and we used the find command. But in addition to the find command, we used another command to get certain words out of some output or out of some files. But it's okay if you don't remember. We're going to be talking about it in a little bit. So this is where command piping comes in. Remember, if you're stuck, you can just hit Control and C to get your terminal back, and we're just going to clear over here. All right, so let's talk about what we're going to do to solve this challenge. So we're going to talk about command piping now. So in Linux, command piping is the process of passing the output of one command into the input of a second command. So the command we're going to be using to grab the flag output, and remember, all the flags start with the word picoctf. So we're going to use the grep command, but we can't use the grep command directly with this output over here, because we need to use netcat to contact the server first. So the first command here is netcat, and that's going to contact the server. And whatever comes back from this command, we're going to pipe that into the grep command, and we're going to search for a pattern. And all of this is achieved through the use of the Linux pipe character over here. So this is a very useful feature because it allows commands to be chained together to achieve a lot of flexible output. So when we use Linux, we use command piping all the time, and we just need to, if we want to move from one command into another command into another command, we can add a bunch of pipes to it. So this is how we're going to use command piping. So we're going to do the first command over here, which is labeled 1, and then we're going to add a pipe, which is labeled 2. And if you don't know where the pipe character is on your keyboard, it's the shifted version of the backspace on your keyboard. So on the keyboard, usually near the Enter key, there's going to be the backslash key, and if you do the shifted version of the backslash, you get the pipe character. And the third thing we include is the second command we're going to run, which is labeled number 3 over here. So let's do this command over here to solve the challenge. Let's go over to our web shell. Remember that you can do up and down on your keyboard to get the command history, and you can get all the different commands that you've run before by doing up and down to cycle through all the commands that you've used before. So this is the command we're looking for, nc jupyter.challenges.picoctf.org 4427. We're going to add on to this. We're going to add a space, and then we're going to add the pipe character. Remember, it's the shifted version of the backspace. After that, we're going to add the second command. The second command is grep, which pulls out different types of text, and we're going to provide the pattern we're looking for, which is the pico text. So if there's a flag in there, it probably starts with the word pico, and this is going to let us get the flag. So let's run this command, and it picks out the line with this pattern right here, pico. So this is the flag right over here, and the flag is picoctf digital plumber something something. So all you need to do now is highlight the flag, right click it, copy, go over to the challenge page, and in the submission field, paste in your flag. You can right click and select paste, or you can use the Control V keyboard shortcut to paste in the flag, and then click on submit flag. Okay, and you should be finished the challenge. So if you have any questions about any of the stuff that we did for this challenge, please let us know in the chat if you have any questions. But if you managed to finish the challenge, please type in the chat pipe, flag, smiley face. Okay, let's move on. So just a little bit more. So what this does is it runs the netcat command, and the output of the netcat command is passed to the grep command, which searches the output for the pico string. And the way we do that is with the pipe character over here. All right, so user T has finished the challenge. Great to see. Thank you very much. All right, so we're going to learn about another important thing for cybersecurity education, and that's about some encoding. So encoding is basically taking some information and turning it into another form of information. It's this is something that we're going to be talking about a lot going forward. So we're going to be completing this challenge called bases. All right, and user M is also finished the challenge. Thank you very much. Great to see. Okay, so the next challenge is called bases, and we can access it from here. I'm pasting the link in the chat. Okay, so here the description says, "What does?" Oh, excuse me. I need to take a sip of water. Just a second. The description says, "What does this mean?" I think it has something to do with bases. So what we can see here is there's a string. There's a string right here. A string is basically some text, and what this is some information that's been encoded. So encoding means that you take some original information and then you turn it into another type of information. And what this is this is a string that's been transformed using the base64 codec, or the base64 encoding scheme. Let's talk about what that is. So we're going to be talking about the base64 command, which is a Linux command we can use to use the base64 encoding scheme. And what it does is that it encodes or decodes data according to the base64 encoding scheme. It is often used to convert data for transmission across computer networks. So basically, whatever information we have, we can transform it using the base64 encoding scheme. And the reason why this is called base64 is because there are 64 symbols inside of this encoding format. So we've got all of the uppercase letters, all of the lowercase letters, all of the numbers, and a couple of symbols like the plus and the slash symbol. So the characters used in base64 encoding are shown here. Note that all base64 encoded strings must consist of a number of characters that is divisible by 4. So one way we can tell that we're looking at a base64 encoded string is that the number of characters in the string is going to be divisible by 4. So if we take a look at this string over here, let me count. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this character is the number of characters is evenly divisible by 4. So that's a good indication that this is a base64 encoded string. User M says, so like 5. I'm not sure what you mean by that message. Could you clarify? So another reason why we suspect that this is a base64 encoded string is because it's got the requisite numbers and letters. So it's got lowercase letters, uppercase letters, and numbers, and that all falls into that kind of scheme. Okay. All right. So we have another student joining us. So user I, if we could ask, um, we're just learning about some encoding right now. And user M says, I meant that since it has 20 characters, that is divided by 4 is 5. Oh, okay. Well, it doesn't matter that there are 20 characters. The only thing that matters is that, well, it is important that it's 20 characters because 20 is divisible by 4. So if it's divisible by 4, that means that it qualifies as a base64 string. But yeah, we just care that the number of characters is divisible by 4. All right. So let's go over. I think we've got a couple more things to talk about. So in the cases where the encoded string is not divisible by 4, the encoding process will pad out the string with equal symbols until the string is divisible by 4. So here we've got an example of transforming this word password into base64. And when the password word is transformed into base64, there aren't enough characters to be divisible by 4, so we're going to add this equal symbol here. So we add a number of equal symbols until it's equally divisible by 4. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and because there isn't a fourth one, we add the equal symbol here. So you can actually test this out. So over at your web shell, just hit and we have to hit Control C to get out of here. And to user JC, if you could just log into your picoctf web shell, that would be great. If you don't remember how, I can demonstrate for you, but please let us know in the chat. All right, so what we can do in the web shell is we can do echo, and echo is basically going to output whatever you type into it. We're going to put a word between the echo over here.
Hide the planet! Hide the planet!
And from YouTube, we have Zohaib. Zohaib, hello, long time no see. I'm just having a lesson right now about Linux. So if I'm a bit slow to reply to your messages, that's why. So we're going to echo password, and what we're going to do if we just do this by itself, we just get the word password back. But what we can do is we can encode it using base64 by using the pipe. So we just pipe it out, and we just add the pipe, and then we add the base64 command. And when we do that, we get the base64 version of the word password. And what we can do is we can transform this back. So we echo password, and then we pipe, and then we use the base64 command, and then we can add another pipe, and then we can do base64 with the -d flag, and this is going to decode. So what this does is it takes password, and then it encodes it using base64, and then it does decoding from base64 in the third command here. So if we run that, then we just get the word password back. All right. So how is this relevant to the challenge? So in the challenge, and if you don't have the link for the challenge, I'm going to provide the link for the challenge one more time in the chat for the new students who arrived late. It says, what does this mean? I think it has something to do with bases. So to complete the challenge, what we're going to do is highlight this. So we're going to be careful to highlight just until the end of the 1. So it's just these characters, and then we copy it. And then what we need to do is we need to go over to our web shell, and we're going to type the word echo. So just like this other process right here where we turned password into a base64 string, we're going to echo out the string from the challenge, and then we're going to pipe that into base64 decode. So it's echo, and then this thing, and then pipe, and then base64, and then -d. So when we run that, we should get our flag. Okay? So the flag over here is called learn the ropes. So we just need to highlight this. So does anybody see something that might be wrong with this flag over here? It's missing something. Does anybody know what it's missing? Okay, user M says it's missing Pico. So remember that, so let's just copy this. We're going to copy this and we're going to paste it. So first copy that and then paste this in. So every picoctf flag has to be in a specific format. And that format is picoctf. So pico is small letters, CTF is big letters. And then we need to put this between some curly brackets. So the curly bracket on your keyboard is the same key as the square bracket. You just need to shift and then hit the square bracket button, and that'll create the curly bracket. And we need to do a pair of curly brackets. So this is what it would look like in the proper picoctf format. So after you add all of this, just copy the flag, then go over to the picoctf challenge page, paste in the flag, and then click on Submit Flag. And then you're finished. Okay, so if you have any questions about what we did for that challenge, please let us know in the chat. But if you managed to finish the challenge, please type in the chat, "It's so based." Smiley face. All right, awesome. User M has completed the challenge. Great to see, great to see. Also, user T, great, awesome. Okay, so we're going to complete one more challenge, and what this challenge is going to do is it's going to blend the two challenges, blend the two new concepts we learned in today's class. So, okay, so this is explaining what we did in the last challenge. So we've got the echo command, and then we've got the base64 string, and then the pipe, and then we've got base64 the command, and the -d for decode. So we can actually practice a little bit more. So anything you want. So for example, if we wanted to, oh, why is this file here? I'm going to delete it. Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate how we can create a file right now, okay? So what we can do is we can use the word echo, the command echo that basically echoes stuff back to us, and we can put in, we can type some words. So, and when we type some words, we're going to put it inside of these double quotes, okay? And we're going to type is my name is your name. I'm just going to type the Shy Hat. You can put in your own name if you want. And what we're going to do is we're going to put this echo output into another file. And we can do so with this character right here. This is the greater than character. And we're going to create a new file with this greater than character. And it's going to be called test.txt. So we're going to take this message, my name is something, and we're going to do greater than, and then we're going to put it into test.txt. So when we give that command, and remember when you do this echo command, please put whatever you want to put in between these double quotes. And then you're going to see this test.txt file over here. If you read that file using cat, you're going to see exactly the message that you typed into the echo command over here. And what we can do is we can turn this into base64 with the base64 command. So we just type base64 and then the name of the file we want to turn into base64, which is this one right here, test.txt. So when we do that, we get a base64 string, just like this. So what we can do is we can actually turn this back into the original message by highlighting this and copying it, and then we do echo, and then paste in this string, and we can pipe it to base64 decode. And then you should get your original message back. All right. So let's so if you manage to do that, you can type in the chat secret messages. So with that done, let's move on to the last challenge of the day, okay? So the last challenge is this challenge over here called repetitions. Awesome, we've got some secret messages from user M, thank you. Oh, and also from user T. Okay, so the repetitions challenge is in the chat. If you want to click on that and start the challenge. Okay, so what is this challenge here? So it says, can you make sense of this file? Download the file here. So this is a challenge where we have to download a file. So if you remember, what we need to do is we need to highlight the link and then right click and then select copy link. So after that, we can go over to our web shell and then we're going to clear our terminal. We're going to make a little directory to solve this challenge in. So we're going to make directory, and this one is called repetitions. So make that directory and then enter the directory. Remember that after you start typing the name of the directory, you can hit tab to autocomplete it. And then from there, we're going to download the file. And does anybody remember which command we use to download files? User M has it right. It's the wget command. So wget is going to let you download files. We just need to do wget and then space, and then right click and paste in the file address, and then hit enter. And that's going to download the file. So this file is called enc for encoded _ flag. So if we cat out the flag, so cat this file, cat space enc _ flag, we're going to see a bunch of characters over here. So what so one thing that we can determine when we're looking at a string, we might suspect that it's base64 encoded string because it's got these certain characters over here. So uppercase letters, lowercase letters, but especially these equal signs at the end. Because remember, if the number of characters is not equal to something that is divisible by 4, it's going to add these equal signs at the end. So if you see a bunch of uppercase, lowercase letters, and numbers, and then you see some equal signs at the end, that's an obvious sign that this might be a base64 encoded string. So does anybody know what command we use to decode this? So what command do we do to decode it, and which additional little bit do we add to the end of the command to decode? Do you remember? Okay, user M says echo and base64. Oh, okay. Yeah, we could use echo and base64. But because this is a file, we don't need to use the echo command to put all this stuff out. We can just use the base64 command. But before we do that, I think there might be a little bit more. Let's see, where were we? Ah, okay. So I guess we don't have too much more to talk about. But before we finish, oh, I went to the wrong place. Hold on. Okay. So we can use base64 and then -d for decode. And then we can supply the name of the file that we need to decode, which is this one right here, enc_flag. So enc_flag. And if you're having trouble finding the underscore key on the keyboard, it's the shifted version of the minus key. So, oh, that's the base64 command. There's no such thing as just a base command. All right, so hit enter, base64 -d enc_flag. So this is what we get back when we decode from the from this file over here. What does this look like? What do you think this looks like? This string. Okay. User M asks if it's a link. So this is not necessarily a link, but this looks like more of this stuff right here, right? So when we decoded from base64, we see this, but this is more of the stuff above, right? It's the same kind of string. So what we need to do is we need to decode the thing that's decoded. So we can do that by doing base64, decode the flag, and then we can pipe it into more base64 decode. So we're going to add, so we can use up and down to get the previous commands. Get this command, base64, whoops, it's base64, not base. Okay. And we can add the pipe, and then we can add another base64 decode. So it's base64 -d encoded flag pipe base64 -d. So let's do that. And after we do that, we see more of this. So do you think this is base64 encoded? Do you think this is a base64 encoded string? So you probably don't want to you don't want to count up all these characters to make sure it's divisible by 4. But actually, I think another thing you can do if you see some suspicious stuff inside of a CTF challenge is that you can copy it, and then you can go over to ChatGPT. And in ChatGPT, you can ask, is this encoded or encrypted? And then paste in your string and then hit enter. And then ChatGPT will give you an answer. It says the string you provided seems to be encoded rather than encrypted, and it looks like it's encoded in base64 format due to the characteristic pattern of letters, numbers, and the use of the padding at the end. Well, there's no padding at the end. But to decode this, you can use a base64 decoder. Would you like me to attempt decoding that for you? So we don't need to ask ChatGPT to decode it for us. We can do it ourselves. And what we're going to do is we're going to add even more base64 decode. So we can get the last command. So we decoded it once, and we decoded it twice, and we're going to decode it a third time. So we're just going to add another pipe, another base64 -d, and then hit enter. And you'll notice that each time we're doing this base64 decode, that the string is getting shorter and shorter. So this one is 3 lines long, and this one is 2 lines long. So we keep on getting more base64 strings. So we just need to get the last command and add another base64 decode to it. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4 base64 decodes. And then we get another base64 string. So we're going to add another base64 decode. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're going to add a 5th base64 decode. Okay, and now we only have 1 line of base64 string. So let's decode this one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 decodes. And we're going to add a number 6. All right, user M has got it. So if you've got the flag, you can go ahead and submit the flag. All right, so we just need to decode this 6 times. And then we get this flag over here. So it's picoctf base64 nested decode and download or something like this. So just copy the link. Select. Copy the link and then go over to the challenge page and then paste in the link, click on submit flag, and that should be the end of the challenge. All right, so if you manage to finish the challenge, let everybody know in the chat by typing in decode, decode, decode. Smiley face. So one more thing I should point out is that we can actually decode base64 strings from a lot of different websites. So if you go over to any old Google search, so if we search Google for base64 decode, there's a bunch of different websites that can do base64 decoding for you. So you can just click on one of these. Here's one called base64decode.org. So if you click on that one, there's this web page where you can decode from base64 format. We just need to paste it into this window. So, oh, that's not it. Go back to your web shell and copy this or any of the base64 strings. Then go over to the website and paste it in, and then hit the decode button over here. And then you see that this has been decoded from this string over here. Okay, so I think there was a little bit about the echo command that that we skipped past. Okay, so we're talking about the echo command for a little bit. So the echo command is used to create output equal to whatever is supplied to it, and it can be used to supply input to another command through command piping. So echo is very important when we want to do command piping because it lets us provide input for other commands. So for example, this is an example of the echo command used to supply input to the base64 command. So user T has finished the challenge. Thank you very much. Great to see. So it's echo, and then we can echo whatever we want over here between the quotes, and then we pipe that into the base64 command, and that's going to give us a base64 string. User on YouTube, Zohaib asks, are you using a virtual device,
Mr. Hacknet, please be
Ubuntu?
excused from class.
Well, Kyle,
Yes.
you hear me?
Okay.
You go to
Hack.
you go to
Hack.
you
Have a great day.
Thank you very much for the redeem, Zohaib. All right, so the echo command can also be used to create files containing the echo content by combining it with output redirection. For example, echo test and then greater than and then output.txt. That's going to create a new file called output.txt with the text command the text content test. All right? And we also talked about output redirection. So what we can do is we can do a little bit more with this output redirection, and it's actually very useful for making files. So, okay. So we're finished with this challenge over here. So we might as well do some cleanup. So in order to clean up, what we're going to do is we're going to do cd by itself, which is going to bring us to our home directory. When you do pwd, you should be in your /home/ your username /picoctf directory. And in the directory is the repetitions directory. We can delete it by using the rm command. So it's rm-r and then repetitions. This is going to delete the directory. If you've got this test.txt file in here as well, you can delete that as well by using rm test.txt. All right. Okay, so I think it's about time for us to do the summary for today's lesson. Okay, everybody. So over here, let's review the Linux commands we learned in this workshop. So first of all, we learned about the netcat command. The netcat command is a versatile computer networking program, and one common use of netcat with the picoctf challenges is to connect to non-standard services on remote servers. So we used netcat to connect to a couple of remote servers in two of the challenges that we completed today. And we also learned about command piping. Command piping is the process of passing the output of one command into the input of a second command via use of the Linux pipe character. We also learned about base64. The base64 command encodes and decodes data according to the base64 encoding scheme. It is often used to convert data for transmission across computer networks. So one interesting thing about base64 is that we like to use base64 to convert files into the base64 format when we're going to send it across networks, because sometimes files have some unwanted bytes that can be corrupted if we don't transform them using base64 before we send them across networks. And we learned about the echo command. The echo command is used to create output equal to whatever is supplied to it. It can be used to supply input to another command through command piping. And we learned about output redirection. It's a feature in Linux that can be used to direct the output of commands and write that output into a file. So what's next? In the next Linux OS operations workshop, we'll keep learning about Linux commands through the picoctf platform. So everybody, before we finish the class, I'd like you to know that next Monday is Columbus Day in America. So we're not going to be doing a class on Monday because it's a holiday, and that means that the next class is going to be on Wednesday. So I hope everybody can have a great weekend, and if you like, maybe you can play around with some Linux on the weekend, and maybe play around with the JS Linux virtual machine if you have some free time. But yeah, the next class is going to be on Wednesday. We're going to be skipping the Monday session because of Columbus Day. But let's see. So we're going to finish out our class, and to the people on the YouTube stream, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going to a be right back screen while I finish the class with the students, and I'll be back in a little bit. Okay? See you in a little bit.